So the next part of this is what we call the 5-minute miracle. 5-minute miracle is it's a chance for you to see what a sample of how an individual is assessed, treated. We'll even do an intervention today to see if we can't generate some sort of change in how you move.
Oh yeah, the last boy was
To give you an idea of what goes on here. Let me get the table ready. All right, so we've been sitting for a while. You guys have been sitting for a while. This table's going to bang, so don't be alarmed. So the next thing I'd like you to do is, if you would please, I'm just going to move a couple of chairs here. I'd like you to stand up if you would. We'll do a test. These chairs a little bit here. So what we're going to do is just notice in standing if it's any bother at all for anybody. First thing I'd like you to do is just bend to reach towards your toes. See what that feels like. See if that is easy or difficult and produces any symptoms. Come on up to standing. I'd like you to take your right hand, slide it down the side of your leg as you bend sideways and see what that movement is like. And come back up and notice how that movement compares with the other. Who here notices a difference between the right and left side?
Yeah.
And then put your hands in the small of your back. Press your hips forward. Bend backwards. Don't. And who here has significant trouble with that? You can have a seat. So this is where it gets fun. So I'm going to select somebody to choose to try to work with and take a look at some basic actions and how individuals move. Do you mind if I use yours? Sure. All right. So remind us again how long this has been bothering you. And,
about a year and a half.
yeah, you just kind of came on one day. We're stepping on.
Came on the sidelines. Before that, I was active. I was running. Didn't really have back problems. Occasionally had other shoulder problems.
Sure.
Knees and livable.
And then how is this affecting your life right now?
Reduced movement. I don't work out as much because it's painful, and it's even painful sleeping, rolling over, but hadn't been so much problem.
Got it.
When it gets to sleep, then it's a problem.
And then what type of treatments have you had?
So I've had chiropractor, needles, varying physical therapy, and medication.
Got it. And what are you currently struggling with? Being comfortable, being able to get to workouts, being active on your feet, and sleeping through the night.
Yes.
Got it. How about standing? Just pure standing.
Standing's okay, but long periods, kind of new development. Pain in the left foot has been a problem walking after, walking a mile or two with a family, whatever, out at the park or whatever.
Got it. And you had some significant difficulty with backward bending and side bending to each side wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in full disclosure, there's a fair amount going on in his history. I'm just giving you some samples here of what this might look like, and we're going to see if we can't influence his mood and ease in the short term here. So, fair enough.
Sure.
So, if you would please, I'm going to have you come on over here and stand and face towards me, if you would please. And then let's see what it's like for your backward bending. Just see what you would do without hands in the small of your back. Just see what backward bending is like for you.
And that's not bad, I'd say. As the day progresses, I'm loosened up and things are better. I like sit for a period of time, or first thing in the morning, things are painful.
Got it. So lots of knee bend to help get them the backward bending we noticed, right? So now slide the right hand down the side of the right leg. So notice what that's like.
That's pain over here.
And notice how far his hand goes down. Okay, and then the other side. And you can hear him grunting there. He doesn't like that.
Yeah, and I can tell
Doesn't
because
go.
he wants to
leave
move
that
his
go
leg up
for sure.
more.
Okay. If you don't mind, just take a walk here from maybe that spine model to Sophie there. I'm just going to tuck this in a little bit. Just let's see what your walking is like. What type of work do you do right now, sir?
Office work, so otherwise I go out to factories, I help big companies save energy.
Got it. Okay. Fair enough. Tell you what, have a seat here if you would please, lie and then lie on your back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start to assess a couple of key structures. First of all, starting with his hips, just to see what that's like. We talked about a hip low back conundrum. We want to see what contribution it has to his issues. So right now, do you have any symptoms in your feet?
Just the left foot is numb.
Left foot is numb, meaning you don't feel as much, or do you feel some tingling? What is it?
Tingling, kind of as if it was, I don't know, you get real cold, numbness kind of, yeah.
All right.
Feels abnormal, we'll give it that.
Got it. Fair enough. All right. I'm just going to allow me to move you. I'm just going to assess hip mobility. So if you can move the camera.
Yep.
To allow her to go through. If you can move the camera to allow her to go through. All right. So upwards. That's about how much mobility we'd expect. Not a lot going on there. That's fairly tight. You can see much more mobility in this one. Any change so far in symptoms in your left foot?
No.
Okay. And let me know if there's any change. No?
I think I did everything. Do you numbness as much?
It's reduced.
Yeah, I think so.
Lift your head, look at your knee. And lower your head. Does that increase the symptoms in your left foot?
No.
Okay. So it's testing for the effects of a disc bulge there. So far, we've got some tightness through that hip joint. We're going to take a look at the other side. And does this joint feel as loose as the other one?
About the same.
What do you guys see? It's not nearly as tight, as flexible as it. And yeah, the other one came up to about 120 degrees, or much past a right angle. This one, an abrupt stiffness.
Yep.
That click at the end. Click, show me where that click was. What part of your body?
Oh, here.
Okay, fair enough. And we're going to assess what it feels like with this. A change in tingling in your foot.
A very tight calf, but tingling is definitely still there.
Lift your head, look at your knee. Any change in symptoms there?
I feel tightness through here when I do that.
Got it. Nothing, no change in the foot. Okay, come back down. So, excuse me. So we'd have to admit that he's got a complex condition. In a formal session, there'd be a bit more questioning and it'd be a bit more extensive intervention. This is what I know so far. We know that his hip joint on his right side isn't overly flexible, but could be much more flexible. The hip joint mobility on his left side is much different than on the right side. That's a significant imbalance and difference. The symptoms are on the left side. Talks about getting stiff in the morning, tends to loosen up over time. We know at the very least that this is contributing to his problem. I'm not saying if we treat this hip, that's going to take away all his problems, but in the absence of getting that hip balanced with how active he is and wants to be, that's not going to be a good idea, right? So from a functional perspective, we're gonna see if we can help to loosen that up. Fair enough?
Yep.
So the thing about these, you never know what we're gonna get, right? So what I'm gonna do here, if that's okay with you, is I'm gonna do a little bit of lengthening through your hip joint, start to loosen up that hip joint a little bit with some gentle hands-on work. We call this manual therapy. So everything's gonna be tested, safe, and just let your leg relax here as best you can. So what I'm doing is I'm just cradling the weight of his leg, giving it a little bit of traction. And first of all, can you feel me providing a little stretch sensation
Yes.
through your hip and lower back? Comfortable?
Yes.
Okay. So he's got a fair amount of muscle tension and guarding going on there, which this is the first time he and I met. Number one, he's getting his leg pulled in a crowd of individuals that are new to him, so he's a little nervous perhaps.
And so you can feel that. Are you saying that? You can feel that?
Well, I can feel
Got him
that.
tight. Yeah.
I can feel that he's kind of fighting me a little bit, right? He's not quite on board. I'm gonna grab a little roll for that just to make it easier for me, number one, and to help him relax. Oh, excuse me.
I know when I'm nervous at work, I take deep breaths and I'm scared, so I'm like, I can't focus.
You want to keep in mind that when we see folks, we see folks from a functional perspective. That we understand the pathoanatomical, those issues that would go wrong with spines, but we're trying to get better balance and movement throughout their body, no matter if it's in the hip joints, knee joints, ankles, any part of the spine, all that needs to move a bit better. So I think he's a little more at ease with this leg resting up on there, and it seems as if, to me, as if we get a little bit more ease in that hip joint. So I'm just going to do this a couple more times here. What I'm doing is I'm providing a separation in the ball and socket joint of his hip joint, and helping those muscles to relax a little bit, to work at some of that deep tightness that's in that hip joint. How that hip joint tightness get there, I'm not sure. He may have limped a bit as a consequence of his back bothering him. He may just may have had a strain in that hip in the past at some point, either from athletics, maybe from work postures, sitting on a George Costanza wallet, who knows what, right? Yes, Victoria.
I haven't felt hopefully in storage yet because I don't have much of my stuff with me. I didn't check like that. I didn't realize it was for under the knee. Hopefully I'll find it when I move at the end of the month. That excites me, doctor.
So, good. So as we went on there, it seemed as if he kind of settled in a little bit. We kind of did this dance. He's like, okay, now I get it. I can let this relax a little bit. But I was feeling a little bit more flexibility in that area. We'll check his hip mobility and see where it goes. This is what makes me nervous because I'm like, oh my goodness. It's either going to be better if it's not. If it's not, that's okay. But we'll see.
So, at least your arms saying that a little weak. It would make me nervous too.
So what do you see with this audience? No.
More
Flexibility. Feel?
Feels like it's flexible.
Quite a bit more flexible, right?
Looks like it's more easier.
So we can see it, I can feel it, he can sense it, check, right? Again, could be that it has nothing to do with his lower back pain. I highly doubt it. it's not probably the only thing going on with his back pain. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna have him back in leg pain. Have you come up to sitting, just sit for a moment, swing your feet around. Take a moment, if you would, please come to standing. Without moving around a whole lot, just notice what you sense through that left side now that might be a little different than before.
Feels a little more stretched out.
Perfect. Now what I'd like you to do is just take a walk towards that skeleton again, and towards the corner. Notice what your sense of walking is like now.
Just initially I felt wobbly, but
Felt a little different, yeah? What do you notice about his walking?
He looks a little bit better. I think a little.
Looks a little.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a trained clinician to see a
No,
difference
but
in walking.
it's like, I don't know, like before you looked like you're walking differently before. I don't know how it was, but
Did you notice a difference in your movement?
just I guess a little more relaxed.
yeah, like ease or little ease.
That'd be a fair description. If you don't mind, let's see all your spinal movements are. Turn face away from us. So one more quarter turn, if you would, please. All right. So now go ahead and reach your right hand down towards the right. Let's see what that's like, bending sideways. That side was a little easier last time.
His foot isn't as high as it was before. He put his foot up
raising
way
his heel.
high, but it was not as, it was higher before. Like
Now the other side.
it's like he still did it, but it's like it's not
Sounds bothersome as before?
I feel like, I don't know.
No, it's a little more stretched out.
Hands and small on your back. Forward. Okay, now I might let him on my limbo team. Come back
He is
up.
bending more.
You feel that difference?
Yeah.
Outstanding. I'm doing a happy dance inside, right? It's not about me, right? It's not because the pressure's off. It's because I know there's hope for him, right? Has anybody ever told you that your hip could be related to your back and leg pain?
No. Shouldn't have any hip concerns or hip discussion.
Right? So that is standard assessment here at the clinic because of how often it's involved. And we notice if we just treat where the yowie is, pull out that pain here, just presume it's from the disc, and just treat that. We have a very limited view of that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So, nice work.